You're the lightweight, the welterweight, now the light heavyweight. Next time this tournament comes up, do you defend your title or do you let Gordon Ryan step in?
I let Gordon Ryan step in. He'll be competing in the 170-pound weight class where he rightfully belongs. We all kind of move around in the weight classes because you know, each of us is a little bit different. You know, Eddie takes the lower weight classes, I take the middle ones. But realistically, Gordon could be competing at you know, 170 easily. So I'm going to let him take that one and get a crack at it. I think these little guys are in for a rude awakening for the king.
Going into any EBI, it's always just as exciting as the first one I was in. There's always new people, there's always new challenges, and for me, there's always been a new weight class. I did the 185, I did the absolute, and now I'm going to do the 170. So it's new challenges, new people, different weight classes, and just new experiences. I beat some big guys, both physically. They were much bigger than me, and their names, ADCC champions, world champions, things like that. And I came in and I won that, and no one expected me to win that, so that was good. And then I came back to do the 185-pound EBI, and I submitted 3 out of 4 opponents in regulation in that one. So I'm overall happy with my performance, but there's always room to improve. I didn't submit everybody in regulation. I submitted, I think, 5 out of 8 people in regulation. So definitely pleased, but there's always room to improve. So me and Gary have talked about who's going to do the 170-pound EBI. Normally he does the 170-pound EBI, but since I got cut before the 205 one, he did that one. And since he won that one, we decided that I was going to take his spot in the 170-pound one. Now, once I do this one, we'll switch back. I'll go back to the 205, he'll go back to 170, and everything will be back to normal. But this was solely dependent on him winning the 205, so he let me take his spot in this one. Gary was a huge part of my development. I mean, he still is, but he was my main instructor from blue belt until purple belt, I would say. The thing that he really helped me with was just kind of a mindset of not always trying to win in training. Most people, they think to compete well and to win competitively, they have to train competitively. I mean, which is true to a certain extent, but most people train to not get put in bad positions. And then when they get put in bad positions, they have no idea how to escape. So the thing that I think Gary has helped me most with is just showing me the importance of always putting yourself in the worst spots possible and trying to escape. Because then when you go into competition, you have no trouble going for an arm bar from top mount and worrying about winding up on bottom, or bottom side control, bottom mount, whatever the case is, because you're used to being in those positions. But when you put yourself constantly in bad positions in training, you're not afraid to be there when you compete, and it's just helps you be more relaxed when you go into these competitions.
Let's dominate the knuckle line.
As far as John's helped me, everything that you see in my current game today is mostly because of John. All the leg locks are because of John, the back control is because of John, the guard passing is because of John, the guard retention is because of John. Mostly everything that you see today in my game as far as attacks go is because of John.
Griffin made it to the finals in EBI 8, and he got to the finals with a hurt arm, and he got beat by Gordon Ryan, but he looked spectacular before that, and that was 185, so now he's cutting weight, he's at 170. This guy's gonna be very, very hard to beat. Kyle Griffin could take the whole thing.
In the first EBI, I was able to go to overtime and win in overtime, and it's exciting. You know you're down to the last second. You know someone's gonna win or lose, and you know you're just one mistake or one scramble away from winning or losing, and it's the most fun I've ever had competing. Since EBI 8, I've changed my training up a little bit. I'm full-time at Jiu-jitsu. also train at Happy Hour Fitness with my good buddy Lav, and then I just you know, been doing the same old usual stuff, training and waiting for this next opportunity.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
I had a great time. It was awesome to be able to compete in front of a large audience and have a greater appeal than the average jiu-jitsu tournament, and also in turn have a great opportunity to win money and be able to be part of a big event.
Oh, there it is! Kyle Griffin submits Eduardo Tellez.
My go-to style has turned into submission only. I've kind of changed my style to really focus on the submission only tournaments and be able to win the tournaments that have prize money. You have a chance to win $20,000, and that's something that, like, whether you use it for good or evil, $20,000 is $20,000, and that's a motivating factor. I'm sure I'll be responsible and spend some of it on smart stuff, and I'll probably be an idiot and spend some on stupid stuff. But I look forward to the challenge of trying to win the money more than the actual money itself. In order to prepare the best for EBI, you have to put yourself in those situations a lot. Put yourself in the overtime situations of being someone on your back, giving up your arm, and I think it allowed me to stay calm the first EBI. I felt like I was in trouble, but at the same time I felt relaxed enough and composed enough to not panic. And I think if you panic is when you're most likely to lose.
His arm broken here. Oh, that is deep. Kyle Griffin on his way to the finals. His arm cannot be feeling good right now, guys. Wow.
Since the last EBI, I think a lot of people will just appreciate my willingness to sacrifice my body to try to win, and that's what I want to do. In the last EBI, I think that I did good because I had a great group of guys helping me. I focused a lot on just conditioning and being able to do the whole tournament. I think it's a hard to do 4 matches. Everybody can do the one, but to recover and do 4 matches. The big thing for me about this EBI, about EBI welterweights, is I get a second chance at Gordon Ryan. I'm hoping to get a chance to perform better than I did last time. I felt like I did not perform in the finals last time, and I just want a second chance at being able to get a match against him.
A staple in the Southeast sub-only movement, Vagner Rocha makes his debut at EBI.
Yeah, I've done everything under the sun, I believe. You know, from in jiu-jitsu to mixed martial arts. Jiu-jitsu, I've done the ADCC, won ADCC trials twice, been in the finals 3 times. Tremendous amount of accomplishments. Fought in, you know, MMA in the biggest organizations in the world. So yeah, I've, you know, done you know, UFC, Bellator, Strikeforce, all the big events there's ever been. I've competed in them. Important thing to happen because, you know, that's the beginning of something that's, you know, happening with jiu-jitsu. You know, it's taking another direction. So winning a title and probably the biggest event happening right now would be tremendous. You know, EBI is the biggest professional event happening in jiu-jitsu at this moment. Winning the title and in EBI would be great. You know, it would be definitely something to mark history for myself. You know, especially how these titles haven't really been won by anybody else but a couple group of guys. Yeah, there's a lot of styles out there, and my style is winning. You know, people remember who wins. You know, whether I feel like I can submit the guy or I can beat him, you know, by an inch or a mile, my goal is to win. With the system where it doesn't allow you to get scored on, you can actually open up a little more to try to chase the submission, you know, and if you end up in a bad position, it's not a big deal as long as you know what you're doing and you have good defense. Jiu-jitsu is my day-to-day and my everything almost. You know, I make a living off jiu-jitsu, I make a living off training. You know, I train every day, 6 days a week, you know, except for Sunday, I rest. My whole life revolves around what I love. and everything I love is involved in jiu-jitsu. What EBI makes sense, you know, it's a tournament where it's rewarding professionalism, you know, where a lot of jiu-jitsu out there now is not, you know, jiu-jitsu in itself has taken a step backwards, you know, because, you know, there's a lot of people that are promoting and making it big, but they're not really rewarding the professionals, the guys who really put on the show, the guys who are on the mat, the guys who entertain people, you know. So I feel like it's not, you know, fair that, you know, a guy who's trained, you know, 20 years of his life, you know, has to go pay to compete, to entertain people, you know, to make a name. And EBI has done the opposite. You know, they're paying you, they're flying you, they're taking care of you, they're putting you up, they're, you know, making things like this, you know, where you expose yourself and you expose your brand. I enjoy every day. I enjoy every day coming in, getting my training in, you know, hanging out with my friends, you know, getting a workout, teaching kids. I really enjoy, I love what I do. So I think hasn't really been a drag, you know. It's not like I have to go hit a 9 to 5, you know, have to punch in to a clock, you know. It's easy. It's an easy day, you know. I get to wake up and say, oh, I get to go do what I love. So I mean, it's not really that hard. It's not a no-brainer, you know.
Returning to represent 10th Planet at the welterweight division is 10th Planet San Diego's Richie Boogeyman Martinez. He's changed a lot since the last time we did the welterweights. He is so dynamic and so explosive offensively. You know, you make one mistake with Boogie and it's over. He's such an amazing finisher, and that's all he's thinking about. He has no idea how to just sit there and relax. He's always attacking. And you're gonna see a brand new Richie Boogeyman Martinez.
You have to understand defense. It definitely, Gio says it best, you know, I want to be like Houdini. I want to be able to escape everything. You know, Eddie says the same thing, but he just says it differently. You know, it definitely gives you confidence. When they can't tap you out, it's like, oh, this one ain't gonna tap me out. You know, I can smash this guy, you know, so having a really strong defense makes you believe in your offense. And I attack every position. I work a lot of passing, you know, I work a lot of leg locks, offense, defense, Kimuras, anything you think of, you know, overtime rules. My mission is always, like I said, the same thing, just going in there and killing it. So no matter what, I'm not working on anything specifically, I'm working on everything. Can't get choked out. You have to be aware of them submitting you as well, but for the most part it's an offensive type of style, you know. I'm always trying to be exciting and I'm trying to just always blow it up. Being on deck at EBI, it's exciting and nerve-wracking, but I also feel like unstoppable. When I'm in there, I'm fearless. Knowing that I'm up next, it's just kind of that fire in me, it's just coming out slowly and it's just building up. As the moments go, as the seconds go, I'm just getting more excited and just more hyped up. You know, battle mentality that I go against anybody no matter what, and I'm fearless when I'm going in there. The showmanship of being on the stage and just want to feel the crowd's energy, that's what I bring from breakdancing. Winning an EBI belt would mean the world to me. The ultimate of what I love, which is jiu-jitsu, something that Eddie Bravo created, you know, so it's more special to me than most people think, you know. It's what the guy that gave me my black belt created, so I want to give back to him by winning EBI. By far the best competition I've ever done, no matter whether it's jiu-jitsu, breakdancing, or anything else. It's just that energy, it's more incredible to me than fighting MMA, you know, like it's just the ultimate pinnacle of just exciting, and just EBI is just the most exciting place I've ever been or competed at. You know, I learned a lot from my past experiences in EBI. One of the things that's huge is like I can't overcommit to certain moves or certain submissions. You know, I have to understand my strength, you know, so if I'm using my strength too much, I know that my arms are gonna get burnt down and stuff like that. Little things that should have caused me wins, they've caused me losses. Darragh beat me at the last 170. That's the guy that I felt I burned down my arms. I had him in the darts and 30 seconds into the match. And I just fucking was breaking his face. He was all bloody. And I just burned my arms out. And I couldn't, that's it. You know, I burned my own arms out. I was like, fuck. That's the kind of stuff that, you know, made me realize what I need to do to make me better. You know, and jiu-jitsu is a game of inches, you know, and it's a frustrating match for me to think of, and definitely drives me to want to win this 170 title even more.
Darragh O'Connell, representing Ireland, is back after a great performance EBI 3 where he got to the semifinals.
It's on, it's over. Darragh O'Connell, victorious over Javier Vasquez.
It's really cool to be invited back to compete on EBI. Obviously, a big honor to be asked by Eddie himself, someone I look up to a lot in jiu-jitsu, and especially considering how much it's progressed over the last while. The EBI I did was EBI 3. We're now on 11, and when I competed the last time, it wasn't on 5 pass. It didn't have the same momentum. It wasn't as big as it is now. So it's definitely probably cooler to be invited this time. You got Bruce Buffer's gonna say my name and shit, so that's pretty cool too. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Marcel Ribeiro. I've been training for 10 years. 2017 will be my 11th year training. I train out of Dublin, Ireland, at my own academy, East Coast Jiu-Jitsu Academy. My specialty would definitely be chokes. I like darts chokes, guillotine chokes, rear naked chokes. Most of my best wins, I guess, have come from those submissions. So, yeah, I train leg locks a lot. They certainly wouldn't be my A game in terms of application in a competition setting, but I really enjoy defending and escaping leg locks and competing with them. I think they make it much more exciting. They make it a much more dynamic sport. For me, I certainly would like to try to avoid any situation where I'm in the overtime rules. It definitely gives someone a chance to beat you that they might otherwise not get. But to me, it's just the rules are the rules. They're there to make it exciting, to make it good for the crowd. And the goal of the overtime is just to have a winner and to make it exciting. And it certainly does that. So I think the overtime rules are really cool. I think people like them. And as long as EBI is going, I'll be happy to compete in it. Give me an easy run to the finals and, you know, take the title and all the money, but it wouldn't really mean too much to me without getting to fight the best people possible. So that's mostly what it's about for me, is personal growth and trying to gain experience to pass on to my students, really just to try gain experience to pass on to them for their grappling careers and their ability to be far better than I ever could be. So if I did end up winning, you know, 20 G's out of doing it, or however much money it is, I would just probably reinvest it in my academy, save it or something boring like that. I'm not really much of a man for material possessions, so. 10 minutes, no points, with all submissions allowed really is an interesting rule set to me. Definitely favors the type of jiu-jitsu I like to watch, or the type of jiu-jitsu I like to apply. So I really enjoy the rules, and obviously the opportunity to compete on such a big platform against such high quality opposition is of a lot of interest to me, really.
I find EBI very fascinating. It really focuses on areas that I'm normally, you know, in classic jiu-jitsu tournaments, you have to get control, you have to be dominant at all times, or you will lose. But EBI, you can relax, you can take more chances. It focuses on your objective, which is the submission, and that has been lost in these very point-oriented tournaments. Fairly versed. I like arm bars, I like triangles, I like kimuras, I like chokes. But the path of least resistance are the legs, so I like them all. Well, I started in a traditional style. I trained with the gi, and it was a very traditional upbringing. But then I met Uriah Faber, and through him, I got introduced to many different wrestlers, high-level wrestlers. So I would, if I had to summarize my style, I would say a hybrid wrestling no-gi style. I do come from a gi background, so I am a black belt with the kimono, and I've competed at the highest level with the gi. But yeah, wrestler slash jiu-jitsu. Very, very interesting perspective, and it's going to be fun to partake in my first EBI and further develop this style.
I don't want to call it old school, but I think it goes back to the gentle arts of the original premise, and I think that's awesome. And I don't, it doesn't necessarily favor the athlete. It favors the intelligent grappler who goes for the finish, which is what jiu-jitsu is all about. I've never had my back taken ever in a tournament. Ever. I've never had my back taken, so it proposes some new challenges. I had to take a step back and be like, all right, put somebody on my back. So it is new for me, but it's going to help me evolve, and I feel like in the bigger picture of things, it's gonna make me a better grappler. But yeah, it's awesome. I think the format makes it very fast-paced, makes it very submission-oriented, and also the overtime puts you in a very dangerous position where a lot of good grapplers don't ever see themselves in, so you have to methodically and systematically put yourself there in order to do a tournament like this. So it's dangerous, and I think it's going to be very entertaining for the people that are watching.
Jean-Paul Lebosnoyani has been dominating the Gracie Worlds and the Gracie National Circuit for years. 15 and 16, tapping out black belts on the regular. This guy's a super athlete. I've been waiting for him to turn 18 so I could throw him in there and see how he does with the best in the world. See how he does against a Gordon Ryan, a Kyle Griffin, a Boogeyman. Let's see it. I mean, this guy might shock the world. We'll see.
I got into martial arts when I was a very young kid. My father opened up this gym about 30 years ago, and this is where he trained Royce Gracie all through his UFCs, and I pretty much was born into the sport. It was just really interesting. It gave me kind of a taste of what my future would be like, seeing the best of the best come in here, from Royce Gracie to recently Conor McGregor. It's really a blessing to have the connections and the people that have come in here to really show me what I have in store in the future. Jiu-jitsu and Hapkido. Those were my first martial arts that I learned at a very young age. I was doing arm bars when I was 3 years old, and I'm still doing them now. I love jiu-jitsu mainly because I've been doing it since I was born. It's all I really know, and it's where I'm comfortable. It's my happy place. Every position, whether I'm about to have my arm torn off or I'm about to break someone else's arm, I'm comfortable. And it's when I'm down in the dumps, I know I can come on the mat and I can leave, as a better human being. It's something that continuously shapes me, and I'm always being humbled, and it's something that I would never, ever take out of my daily life. Some of my accomplishments are being an IBJJF World Champion, winning Gracie Worlds at the black belt level, and just always grinding and being determined to improve every single day I walk into the gym. So after watching my good friend and training partner, Vagner Nunez, in the EBI Absolutes, I realized that I could really perform and excel, on the EBI stage, and it's something that I really wanted to do. While I was there watching, I remember telling my dad, I want to be up there. I'm going to be up there soon. I bet that they think they're going to have an easy first match. I know that everybody's thinking that, but I've been training just as long as you guys. I've been on the mat since I was 3 years old, and I have the ability to catch people off guard when they expect it least. Right now I'm ranked 5th in the state for wrestling, so I have that background. I'm going to be going for the takedowns. I'm going to be pushing and grinding the whole match no matter what, and my goal is to submit the person, and there's a high probability that that's going to be in an armbar because that's all I drill and that's all I love to do. And I know that at EBI 11, I'm going to shock the world.
It's changing overall. The sub-only game is growing and growing. There's tournament after tournament adopting the rules, and you're just seeing it grow. It's like, there could be like 20 EBI sub-only rules out there, and it's a wonderful thing. You know, I like seeing them all grow.
I love submissions. I love just the act of jiu-jitsu. I have zero stall in my game, so this is the perfect rule set for me.
I took double gold at the Abu Dhabi trials. I won the Metamorphs Challenger. I do a lot of submission-only tournaments. It's probably my favorite format in a lot of ways, especially when there's stakes involved, like there is an EBI, which really enforces action. I feel like I thrive when there's action. I love the scramble. I love when my opponent's coming at me. That's what jiu-jitsu is about, so this is the perfect rule set to enforce that.
I'm not limited to just arm bars or leg locks or one thing. I'm going to be attacking from all angles all the time. So 10 minutes, this is the perfect format for me. As long as, you know, my opponent's willing to do the same, or if he's willing to be aggressive, we're going to put on an exciting show. This is the style that I'm designed for. My specialty is versatility. I wouldn't limit myself to just one submission or just being like the triangle guy or just the footlock guy. I like to do it all. I think that's my specialty, is being able to mix it up and maneuvering through various submissions. Honestly, I do it for the challenge and for the jiu-jitsu. It's just a great way for me to see where I'm at. It's a great gauge. That being said, I'm definitely in this to win it. I'm not here just to participate.
Eddie Bravo is somebody that I've watched even before I did jiu-jitsu. I used to listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. Oh no, I still listen to the Joe Rogan podcast all the time, but I used to listen to it before I did jiu-jitsu, and he's actually one of the leading figures that kind of, his enthusiasm got me excited about jiu-jitsu, and it's pretty amazing and a little surreal that I'll be competing in his tournament. So I'm really excited. I want to show him that this is the style, this is the perfect rule set, this is what I've been training for.
I love the idea of not having to worry about points. Like there's no risk for me swinging submissions at my opponent. I don't have to worry about them scoring points and again stalling me out, which is something that quite often happens in other tournaments. I feel like winning the EBI welterweight title would open a lot of doors for me, especially clubs in Vegas, Hakkasan, Encore, Light. I think in the world of submission grappling, it is the biggest event in the world. I would imagine it has the most spectators in the world. A lot of people still consider ADCC and the IBJJF to be the most prestigious events, but I feel like with what EBI is doing, it's definitely on its way to the top. Right now, I've been focusing on a lot of wrestling and judo. Given that every match in the EBI format starts on my feet, I really wanted to develop some strong takedowns. So like, I would say right now, my best moves would be drop Sianagi, Osotogari, oil checking, lateral drop, fireman's carry. I started training in Adelaide about 10 years ago. My coach at the time was a white or blue belt. Things were really different back then. Since then, in the last few years, I've moved to probably the best competition school in Australia under Lachlan Giles. I train with guys like Kit Dale, Ben Hodgkinson. We've got some really good guys at this team. Our female team, we've got like 5 world champions.
I've been training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 10 years. I train at the Indiana Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy under James Klingerman. My style of Jiu-Jitsu would be If I had to classify it, probably traditional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, take the fight to the ground, control, dominate the position, effectively attack without being attacked, and look to end the fight with some kind of submission, whether it's an arm lock, leg lock, or a choke. My specialty is triangle chokes. I try to avoid leg locks, especially as I get up there in rank. More and more people are going for them, so you have to be aware of them and you have to know them and the intricate details of those, just like any other submission. It's a great opportunity to get my name out there. I think it's great for the sport, and I really like the overtime. I think that's what separates it from a lot of other submission-only tournaments where it usually ends in a draw. The only thing worse than a 20-minute match is one that doesn't end with a winner. As far as future opportunities, as well as just a title. It's one of the biggest tournaments in the world right now, and it would mean a lot. I don't know. I love the sport. I love competing. I love the friends that I've made along the way, and just the opportunities that it's given to me. My jiu-jitsu takes up 99.9% of my life. All my friends have choked me unconscious at some point. In fact, I have one friend that doesn't train jiu-jitsu that I talk to on a regular basis. Other than that, jiu-jitsu, teaching, competing, training, traveling to do all of the above, take up the majority of my life.
From TriStar, Oliver Taza's been wrecking shop. He's winning all these sub-only tournaments all over the Southeast and the East Coast, and he won the Grappling Industries EBI qualifier to earn him a spot at EBI 11.
So I had a time where I was doing more only point system, IBJJF, UE, whatever it is. And lately I've been doing mostly sub-only, but now what I want to do is be able to do both at the same time and really open up more opportunities for myself by doing everything. That's what interests me the most. So yeah, whenever there's a big fight also, I'll tune in, I'll watch it. There's always stuff to learn. Somebody has to win. There are no draws, no judges. It's clear who won after a fight. And sometimes in overtime, you don't really know who wins, maybe by a couple of seconds. It's exciting. Also, you get a lot of surprises, like when Gordon won the absolute. Main training partners at Henzo's, of course, will be Gordon Ryan. Brings a lot of pressure to the game, a lot of back takes, very heavy on top. Whereas when I roll with Gary, it'll be more scrambles, moving around, standing up, back to the ground, danger wherever we go. And Eddie, it'll be more like I'm posting on the mats, I can't get my balance, I'm always trying to get my balance back. Next thing you know, I'm on the bottom, fighting for my ankles. So our three of them have different styles, and there's a lot to gain from rolling with each one of them. Every rule set has pros and cons, so it was interesting. And now I see like it's most sub-only events are using it, so I feel like everybody agrees with the fact that it's a pretty exciting rule set.
God damn it, is this gonna be awesome today or what? Most EBI competitors are invited by me personally. My 10th Planet soldiers that are competing in EBI, they have to qualify. I have a 10th Planet qualifying tournament, 10 PQ, a month before every EBI, and that's how I find the absolute best guy. Who ends up at the top, like your win, boom. And the last one we did a couple weeks ago, Nathan Orchard, he's one of those guys like Gary Tonin. He's a multiple division kind of guy. Nathan Orchard could fight at 55, he could fight at 170.
Well, I've competed against a lot of these guys in this tournament coming up. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do and focusing on playing my game, not worrying about what they're doing. I didn't even watch a lot of the matches today because I don't care what everyone's doing. I've got to do what I've got to do. So I want to beat the best anyway, you know? So I'm happy to go against the best there are. That's what I want. So it's all good with me. Tap. The more I learn and grow, the more I realize I have infinite potential. I mean, we all do. And so it sounds maybe dramatic to some, but my life goal is to make the world a better place. That's what I want to do. Now, the tool I use right now to do that is jiu-jitsu. I've seen what jiu-jitsu does to free people's lives and give them confidence and health and all these amazing things. So right now, jiu-jitsu is my tool to help just create a better life for everybody. 15, 16 years I've been studying grappling and martial arts and things like that. But from the time I got my blue belt to my black belt, almost to the exact day was 2 years. It seems like it was fast, but trust me, I've been working hard for a long time. I feel like at the highest level, you know, there's only so many techniques, and techniques are great and everything, but it's who has the mental edge, you know, who believes in themselves the most, who will get out of their own way the best. I definitely think that is a massive tool in being a top-level competitor. If you're not mentally strong or, you know, have your game worked out, man, I mean, you're not going to go very far if you're not mentally put together, you know. The real truth is that I'm not doing this to win. I'm doing this because I'm doing jiu-jitsu because it helps me become the best version of myself. And when I'm the best version of myself, I win. So winning is a byproduct of being the best I can possibly be, working the hardest I can, giving everything I have. So I think that's where, you know, I might have a slight edge is I realize that I am the only one in my own way. You know, our minds are limitless, but our minds are the only thing stopping us from being limitless. So, you know, as a good friend put it, you know, it's almost a key to a gateless gate, realizing that you need to get out of your own way. If you want to play points, cool. If you want to do the gi, cool. If you want to do sub only, cool. If you want to do sub only no time limit, beautiful. Like, it's just, if you're doing what you want to do, that's what I really care about. I'm just glad to be a part of it in any aspect of it, so it's all good with me. The closer we are to death, the more alive we feel, right? And going against all these savages, I feel very close to death. So I take the time during my match to be thankful to be so alive, experiencing something so intense and so real.
Since EBI's inception, I've heard of this Joe Baize, and people would send me messages about Joe Baize, look into him, he's really good at leg locks, and the modern leg lock game was exploding. I heard about Joe Baize, I just didn't know how to get a hold of him, but he's from a real small town, he's like a coal miner. He's just this leg lock expert coal miner, so I brought him in, and he did the 185 show. He had a good performance, but his true weight is 170, and I told him I would bring him back at 170. He's got to be in the best shape of his life.
You know, I'm still relatively unknown, but I was definitely one of the front runners of the game. You know, your old school guys will definitely be able to tell you that, but it's just awesome now. And, you know, I'm getting older and stuff, and finally getting on the big stages. The hip game that's going on now is the same one that I did like 14 years ago. I was winning with leg locks in competitions. The only thing that's different now is that everybody else does leg locks. So if anybody trades, they've got a chance against whoever it is. You know, like, I've run into so many problems in the past, like coming up, because, you know, I work, it's not an excuse or anything, but I work a full-time job and I just can't go compete at a lot of these tournaments and stuff. And I try to do local super fights and everything, and you know, not name any names, but anytime I try to go against a Brazilian or something, they'd always got to do the gi fight, where, you know, wouldn't face me no-gi to do heel hooks and stuff. So it's awesome. Now everybody's thrown in together, and it's a great thing. You know, EBI has definitely pushed our sport forward and made it to where, you know, I'm actually getting to go out and fly places to actually grapple. If you'd have told me that I'd be able to do this stuff years ago, I'd told you were crazy. I'm not a trash talker. I'll never be a trash talker. So, you know, getting an invite to this is like a very, very big deal for me. I think you know, I've got a really good chance. Like I said, I respect every one of them, but if they go to trade against anybody in the world, you know, if they trade leg locks, I've got a chance, you know. So, you know, I think I've got an awesome shot to win the whole tournament.
And winner by straight ankle lock, Joe Baize.
Making his EBI debut, American top team Llanas black belt, Sergio Ardila.
I've been training for 8 years last December, actually, and I've been training American top team Llanas most of the time. My style in jiu-jitsu is pretty simple. I push the pace. I try to go for the finish. I'm also very cautious. I always know where I am, and I don't make many mistakes. My most important victories are those where I face some adversity in the match. So any match where I really have to dig deep and kind of push through to win, those are the ones that mean the most to me. Persistence. You know, if I don't find a way to win right off the bat, I'll keep looking for openings, and I'll pull out the W. Am I into leg locks? I wasn't into leg locks all that much a couple of years ago. Then I went against a guy named Eddie Cummins, got me in a leg lock. It's just been all over the internet, and I've been forced to learn leg locks, and I do enjoy them now. I don't do it for the money, really. Honestly, I don't think there's all that much money in jiu-jitsu as it is. And I just do it to express myself, have fun, and improve as much as possible. If I won, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20K for doing this, I'll probably just take 5 or 6 of my closest friends, probably go drinking somewhere and just go party for a weekend. Make sure I spend all of it. Honestly, I imagine like Eddie Bravo was just sitting around with some of his friends and trying to figure out what the coolest type of tournament would be. And the thing I like the most about EBI is it just seems like it's flexible, it's fluid. If something comes up that people think is gonna make it into a better tournament, I imagine Eddie will be cool with doing that. And I just think they have the right mentality to make a tournament that really brings a lot of eyes to the sport. Jiu-jitsu is fun. That's bottom line, that's the reason why I do it. If I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. I enjoy it every single time that I'm on the mats, whether it's at practice or at a competition. The entire time I'm having fun, I'm not thinking about anything else. It helps me relieve stress. It's healthy, and yeah, I love it. I will be amongst the best people in jiu-jitsu right now at the 170 pounds. So yeah, real cool to have.
My name is Marcel Goncalves, and I'm a black belt under Roberto Bro Cyborg. My biggest accomplishment in life is to be able to live off jiu-jitsu. So I think my biggest accomplishment is to move to America, be able to have my own gym, be able to have time to teach, train, and compete. I competed in Abu Dhabi, at the Abu Dhabi Pro in 2013. I won the trials for that, and also I won the Metamorphs Challenger on my division at 170. I'm one of Cyborg's first students because Cyborg opened the school right by my house. I went there when the school was opening. I've been with him since then. I think it's been like 15 years. Came to America together to compete at the Worlds in 2007. I live in Beverly Hills. I stayed at Beverly Hills Jiu-Jitsu for 6 months, moved to Canada, lived in Canada for 6 months. Then Cyber came to Florida, and I followed him. I came a couple years later. I moved to Naples. I used to come here to Naples to do private class, to teach private class, end up opening my school, the class grow. And today the gym is huge. It's one of the biggest accomplishments I have in my life. I love jiu-jitsu. I'm a very emotional person. My jiu-jitsu is very emotional. So if I'm in a day, it will flow great, you know, and I can beat anyone. I understand the importance of doing the overtime. I think this is a great outlet for a lot of instructors and a lot of jiu-jitsu lovers. I can't imagine how many people haven't been training those specifics on back and an arm bar. So this is very positive for jiu-jitsu. I support 100%. Fight with the heart. I only know what's gonna happen when I step in there, when I feel the fight. For me, fighting is all about the energy. When I get in there and defense, offense, I don't have, it's all one thing to me. It's all in the moment, making quick decisions, using the moves that I practice in training, just making that quick mathematical decision to see what is the best move in the moment, and then that's my style, live in the moment. I'm feeling very ready, very ready. Actually, I started the year in such a good vibe. Everything's been falling in place. I went after, I did the hard work, I did what had to be done, and now all the opportunities are coming. They're coming my way. The ties are open to me, and the wind is blowing my way, and then I'm taking it. I'm surfing this wave. And all the hard work that I put behind the scenes, I got invited to compete at one of the mainstream jiu-jitsu tournaments, grappling tournaments now. Okay, MAB of all times. Good formula for success. So I'm honored to be able to participate to that, to make history on this. I had goals before, I visioned something. I went after, I built my path, you understand? Made my connections, did my hard work, and then the invitation came, and it's a huge thing for us. Okay, guys, so you guys deserve that too, okay? You guys deserve that too.
On invitational veteran Jose Angel Llanas, representing Team Took out of Texas, makes his debut at EBI.
One match at a time, one training session at a time, and go from there, you know, just ride the wave and enjoy, embrace everything, either the good, the bad, the training, anything I will embrace and take any type of energy, positively take it into the competition and use it in my favor.
All right, now you confuse them more by trying to answer this question.
I mean, right now it means everything. You know, this is my next challenge, and it was a goal of mine to try to be on a show, an event like this one. And I mean, just looking at it watching it from home, it was just like one of those things that I was like, I just dreamed about it, you know. I know a lot of people are shy away from this opportunity because of the rule set. I really don't. I think it's a great opportunity. I think one day, I don't want to look back and say I didn't do that because I was afraid or didn't like the leg block, didn't like the overtime rules. Man, I'm down, I'm game. I think, you know, that this will give so much more to my life, and you know, my best thing that I can do is prepare the best and go out there and give the people the best show that I can, you know, my best performance. Advantage is the fact that they don't know much about me, and people can maybe, you know, underestimate me, but winning the title would mean everything, open up so much opportunities, and you know, obviously it would give me the opportunity to go back to EBI, but it's a rough one. You know, you got to take it one match at a time, you got to visualize, and I do see myself going out there giving my all, and, you know, being a handful for anyone. Just what I have. It's just my lifestyle. This is what I chose. And I wanted to dedicate myself 100% into jiu-jitsu. Made best guy win. But I think that's what talks a lot about certain individuals who are willing to put themselves in the spot like that and get out of the comfort zone. I think that's what jiu-jitsu is all about. You know, we start with the kids and build up confidence. They get out of their comfort zone and they become a different animal on the mat. I think that's what it is. Once I do EBI, I have done tournaments in this style of brackets, or this rule set with overtime rules like this. And so I feel like going out there and gaining a ton of experience is definitely gonna bring more confidence to my jiu-jitsu all around, knowing that I go out there and compete in any rule set, especially the EBI one. It takes a lot, especially with an opportunity like EBI right now. I'm dedicating myself, my mindset 24/7. It's kind of, I watched an interview of Gordon Ryan where he said that he went in there, you know, where people expecting him to lose. He's not the favorite, and that's how I see it. You know what I mean? And I respect that. You know, it's really cool. It really shows the desire that he had to train, go out there and prove everyone wrong, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing at EBI 11. See a grappler out there competing and winning and doing well, you might see that part of him, you know, but the reality is that he has invested so much out of his time in private, you know, to go out there and be who he is. Sometimes we get caught up on the little bit of time we go out and compete, 10, 15, you know, whatever, however long your matches are. But the fact is, we're out there training, you know, all the time in private, you know, just to go out there and try to give the best we can and perform, you know, in front of people.
1, 2, 3, team up!
Originally, the plan for EBI was to have strikes on the ground. Combat jiu-jitsu was the original plan. We didn't have any shows, had a little trouble conveying my ideas to the commission. They were down for it, they liked it, you know, but they wanted me to stay in a cage, and they were gonna give me 2 3-minute rounds. You know, I don't blame them. It was just thoughts and ideas that I had. People thought I was crazy for those EBI overtime rounds. I would explain the EBI overtime rounds to people, and they just shut off, and they thought I was talking about flat earth or something. They just walked away. To me, it didn't look right in a cage. I wanted it on an open mat, just like they do in combat sambo. It doesn't have to be enclosed. Now, since they see EBI and they see the success in the format, and I asked them, I go, now can we do combat jiu-jitsu without a cage, just an open mat? And they said yes. They're really behind it. The commission is all for it. It's amazing. They've been wonderful. And so now here we go, combat jiu-jitsu. We're not taking away the old format of EBI, we're just gonna add combat jiu-jitsu. So EBI 11 will debut combat jiu-jitsu, but it's gonna be separate. We're gonna have a 16-man welterweight tournament. And in between each round, there's 3 spots. We're gonna have a 4-man combat jiu-jitsu tournament featuring J.M. Holland, Nick Honstein, Sheridan Moran, and Chad George.
Competing at EBI 7 was an amazing experience. You know, I've always loved competing at the highest level, from when I was competing in MMA to now being able to have the opportunity to compete against the best grapplers in the world. The format that Eddie puts on is just incredible. I love it. And I mean, my first year as a black belt, I got to test myself against guys like Eddie Cummings, so it's incredible. Now that I've had the experience of being on that format, I'm really looking forward to this next opportunity, kind of merging into more of my realm, which is with the striking on the ground. I'm really excited about the new rule set for EBI because coming from an MMA background, I've done, you know, ground and pound for the last 12 years of my career. It's a whole new facet that comes to jiu-jitsu. You know, a lot of us always said, you know, well, he can't do that stuff if there's striking involved. Let's see it happen with striking. And now we get to really see how that's going to play out. We're going to see if these leg lock guys can really go for the leg locks when somebody's still striking them. Let's really see how good jiu-jitsu works against a guy who has amazing jiu-jitsu but can also keep the pressure and punch you in the face a little bit. I think my strengths go in my ability to deal with pressure on the ground, whether it's striking or people aggressively coming out attacks. You know, I've been doing it for years. Something I've really prided myself with is the way I keep pressure with my wrestling game, my position game, and my ground and pound's always been one of my best parts of my game throughout my entire career. So now I get to really use it on the elite level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it's an incredible opportunity to be a part of, and I can't wait to let myself shine out there. You know what? I know what I'm getting myself into. I don't know if they do. You know, I've talked to people all the time and everybody calls it slap fighting. You know, oh, you get to slap them around a little bit. Listen, if we get on the ground and I get in one of the positions that I'm very dominant in, trust me, I can go for submissions, but I get a little excited in positions and I don't go for the submission. I'm gonna try to finish you from that spot. And if people think you can't get finished with open hand strikes, give me a chance and watch what's gonna happen.
Mount and three-quarter mount with palm strikes, it's gonna open up the submission more. It's really not gonna be, there's gonna be a TKO every now and then, maybe a knockout. Overall, you're just gonna see a faster pace match and you're gonna see more openings with the palm strikes. Watch his chokes, watch his chokes. Cool.
I get to take people down, slam people, and choke people. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. So I fell in love back then, and I worked my way into MMA, and I did that professionally for years. And then I worked my way into competing at the highest level of jiu-jitsu. I think jiu-jitsu has become much more than just a sport. Jiu-jitsu really is a way of life. You know, a lot of people say that, but I think it takes a lot of investigating and a lot of self-discovery to understand what that means. And to me, jiu-jitsu really is life. It's the way you approach everything. Everything in life becomes a journey of how you're gonna overcome obstacles, how you're gonna deal with things you don't understand, how you're gonna grow from things as it's thrown in front of you. And so everything in life to me really has become about jiu-jitsu. And the more I study jiu-jitsu and the more I train it, the more I just understand how much more there is for me to learn. And it's the journey that makes everything exciting for me, and to pass on that to my students. And they learn from me just as much as I learn from them. So the idea of jiu-jitsu being a part of my life, it's from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. In those situations, sometimes people are gonna get hurt, and I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It should be, based on common sense, the best style to prepare you for a career in MMA. And it's also for guys like Nick Honstein, who already had an MMA career, and now they're retired, and maybe there's just too much damage with all the Muay Thai, but they love jiu-jitsu and they still want to grapple. This is a way you can still compete without having to worry about getting head kicked in the face.
I started grappling, I suppose, 20 years ago. Started with just folk style wrestling all throughout grade school, junior high, high school, and then right in college, I suppose, I got into jiu-jitsu, but realistically, it was more like catch wrestling. We were just wrestling in garages and kind of watching stuff off the internet. And then about 10 years ago, I got into jiu-jitsu and started wearing a gi and actually going through the ranking. And so yeah, it's been a long journey, and I use all those different styles still. I'm looking for takedowns, aggressive takedowns, smash and grab jiu-jitsu. Basically whatever it takes to get a good position and push them into a corner and take a submission. So you're looking for a lot of dominant control, and you can get creative in any way you want to kind of rip that submission out. A specialty is kind of hard to say, I guess. I've got a great double leg takedown that I don't think anyone can stop. You know, I do a whole bunch of other goofy shit. I'm not much of a leg lock guy. I like it when people go for leg locks, honestly. I hate to pose too much of a challenge, but most of the time when we get into a leg lock situation, I'm looking to come out on top and make them use that as a opportunity to pass guard. This particular format, the combat jiu-jitsu, I think is an awesome idea, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. the schedule always changes, but one thing for sure with me is that jiu-jitsu is just a part of your life. If you do it, you do it. And I've always known, I knew a decade ago that I knew nothing, but I knew someday I'd be a black belt. And I know that, you know, now that I am a black belt, I know that I have so much more to learn. I'm still a beginner. And I, as much as I train, I just keep figuring out new stuff and keep realizing that it's a long journey. Well, combat jiu-jitsu looks and feels a lot the same like jiu-jitsu, but it is gonna be different. A lot of things are gonna be different. Guys are gonna possibly abuse their privilege to hit, and it's gonna get them into trouble. The entire dynamic changes when we start hitting each other. So I'm excited, and I'm also really excited to see if these guys have the mustard to really take some smacks across the face and see what changes in the whole game, because some submissions are going to be hard to get until my knee's on your stomach and I start slapping you in the face, and then I'm going to rip off that arm. It's going to happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see if these guys can handle it. I mean, to be a part of the first EBI combat tournament, maybe it sounds really cliche and like braggadocious, but it makes me feel like Royce Gracie in the first UFC. Like it's a huge deal. Maybe it's not a huge deal now, but 20 years from now, this could be a huge deal. Maybe this is a great, huge new thing that people are going to start doing, and I'll get to be the first to smack the shit out of these guys on the debut night.
So it's a way of developing your jiu-jitsu in a more realistic way. It's not MMA. There's no elbows, there's no knees, there's no kicks. Palm strike, just open palm strikes. We brought in the palm strikes not to add TKOs to the show. I brought in palm strikes to make your jiu-jitsu a little more realistic. That's it. We're not trying to knock anybody out.
Yeah, I'm not at all worried about it. I'm gonna play my game, man, and just work it. My game works. I know it works. I'm not anyone special. I'm not some crazy hyped guy that everyone knows. I'm some guy from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I realize that, but I realize that I have fought tough guys. I believe in myself. I believe in my technique. I believe in Eddie. You know, Eddie chose me to do this, and he asked me to do this, and that's not for nothing. So I'm gonna go put on for my team and my squad for sure. I'm not really worried about it. As far as my background in EBI, I watched the first two, studied them pretty intricately, obviously, and Eddie gave us a call. We were in the third one with Grace. I'm half of Grace Gundram's coaching team. That's my big claim to fame. So obviously that was like one of the biggest moments of my entire life, coaching Grace in EBI 3. That was such an insane moment in my life, and I mean, she went on to kill it. She's the only kid that won all her fights by submission. She's the only one that didn't lose. She's 6, so she kind of blew us up and got our name out there big time, a little 12-year-old girl. I think EBI is working as a tournament just like our school's working as our school. Like, it's all about how you roll in the gym. Everyone falls in love with jiu-jitsu because of slap hands and you go and you get tapped and you start again. It's about the kill. It's about the finish. That's what we're about. We opened finishers in 2013. And by no means is it an accident that the whole sport is growing up, the whole submission-only movement, and it's headlined by EBI. I think people are into the finish. They don't want to see points and stalling and advantages. They want to see guys going after it and getting some cool stuff. Like, I want to hit some fly stuff. I don't want to hit, I want to hit what's coming up. I mean, the way I train is this. Like I said, like MMA jiu-jitsu for when you're getting hit. So it really don't have to change that much as far as the thing. We do practice EBI overtimes. We do practice defense and all these things. So I don't have to change much. Honestly, it's hard to find guys that are willing to train that style with me, especially combat jiu-jitsu. I mean, you're gonna have someone, like, how many schools have no gi days more than twice a week? So, and it's hard because you're competing, all the best schools, you're competing against them. So you do have to find the right people to help you. So I think we have to work a lot harder than, you know, we get credit for a lot of time. We're in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, so there's a whole scene out here that we started. You know, there was no jiu-jitsu schools out here because I would have been at them. So I started my school as blue belt and built this from the ground up, and with my team, obviously, not by myself, but I don't come to class every day and have my instructor, you know, showing me moves and showing me what to do. I don't have Eddie right here with me, so I have to go the extra mile. I have to travel, I have to train, I have to bring guys in, I have to you know, do all these extra things. So but it makes me better. I feel like it's an advantage. It makes me hungrier. Winning an EBI strap and bringing that back to my team and showing my family like what I've been wasting my 20s on would be pretty cool. Like, I just want the respect. I want to be someone that, you know, win or lose, I want someone knowing that, you know, if my name comes up, you'll be like, hey man, you threw down, you know, and you did your thing. So I want to go, you know, and show my students that, you know, I'm not just telling you what works, I'm showing you. Like, I'm going to lead the way, you know. As far as striking, affecting, impacting the fight, or how many guys are looking for the knockout versus the submission, it depends. You got to take what your opponent gives you. If you got a guy tired, you hit him and you realize he's hurt and you finish him, you can finish him with strikes. But if they're still defending themselves, there's going to be openings that those strikes create that you can jump on. So it's a give and take, you know. There's certain positions that you're going to get to where you can hit someone hard and you can knock them out. There's positions that if you hit them, you're going to put yourself in danger of being submitted. So you can't just recklessly hit the guy. I mean, I hope I'm not telling anyone anything they don't already know. But I think if anyone, I think the guys in the tournament know when they can hit someone and when they can't. But if the knockout's there, I'm going to take it 100%. I'm going to go for it. I think this is an opportunity I'm not going to waste. I have no expectations going in this tournament. I want to get in there and get respect for my jiu-jitsu and for my team. I don't even think about when I know I can do it. I know I can train. I'm training to the best of my ability. I'm going to be as ready as possible. This is something my whole life has been leading up to. I feel like when Eddie texted me and said, you know, do you want to be in this? I didn't even hesitate for a second. Winning it would be a dream come true, obviously, but I have no pressure on me to win. No one even knows who I am. I'm some bum from Bethlehem, so I'm just going to go out there and throw down and see what happens. If I catch somebody, I catch somebody. If I knock somebody out, great. But I'm just going in there and trying to represent the best I possibly can. In combat jiu-jitsu, if you let someone mount you, you're going to get beat up, and you're going to get finished probably. I mean, if you're going to get beat up, you're going to turn your back. There's arms, there's necks, there's transitions that are there. That you can go to that's going to be ending the fight. There's positions passing-wise, there's positions guard play-wise that you can't hang out and play, you have to go. So it's going to be a lot faster pace. I feel like it's going to change the pace of the fight. 10 minutes is a long time to be hitting somebody and scrapping with somebody, so it's going to change a lot of things.
It's going to change the game for sure in some ways and not so sure in other ways. It's still a bit of a mystery of how it's going to look and it's going to play out. But really, it's not going to change the leg lock game as much as people think it might. It's going to tweak it a little bit maybe.
I totally embrace the palm strikes. I mean, I think that it completely changes the way that you do jiu-jitsu. I think it makes for a more aggressive, a more attacking style jiu-jitsu where there's really no safe spot, because you can get hit from anywhere, so you have to continually be on the attack, continually trying to push the pace and make guys submit both mentally and physically. I think the palm strikes, again, kind of add that next evolution into the game. I think that, you know, it's kind of the American dream to want to be a pioneer at something, want to be the first to do something ever. But I just like the whole concept of, you know, really trying to become the best martial artist you can be. And so with that said, you know, you have to test yourself in all kind of rule sets to really figure out where your weakness and strengths lie. You're going to expect to see a lot of heavy hands, a lot of aggressive attacks, and continually hunting for that submission until the very end. Originally, I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. And then I moved back down to Baton Rouge after college and started training jiu-jitsu while I was coaching a high school wrestling team. I then moved to New Orleans, Louisiana, and continued training at Mid-City MMA. And I've been doing jiu-jitsu and sambo and coaching wrestling and competing in MMA ever since. I think the jiu-jitsu scene has grown a lot over the last 5 or 10 years. You know, we have our first black belt under Tim Crater, and I think it's grown a lot ever since then. We've been able to see a lot of growth in jiu-jitsu in the local scene, and hopefully sending some of the jiu-jitsu fighters out to the bigger shows like EBI and the IBJJFs. I've had several MMA fights already, plus years of wrestling experience and jiu-jitsu experience. I think all of that tied together has made me a pretty versatile grappler. I think that the way that I train now and the way that I've trained for my MMA fights is not that much different. We try to tie in a lot of these concepts in already with the open palm strikes and the positioning. They make for a more aggressive style of jiu-jitsu. I think they make for a style that continually opens up positions and allows for the submission to be more open. I think that my training partners like Tan Lee and Carlos Vera, they've kind of helped me scientifically look at how we're gonna approach this style matchup. And I think that the way that I've trained almost all my life, it kind of goes well with the way that I already grapple. So adding these palm strikes is only gonna just make my grappling that more versatile. And I think that you're gonna see a kind of unique style set when I step on the mat.
It's still impossible to be 100% ready, and you have to be ready to improvise and scramble and be ready to ad-lib against some of the top guys in the world in very compromising situations.
Running an academy, teaching, training, competing, I wouldn't know what to do at jiu-jitsu. Essentially, it's everything that I do from the minute I wake up till the minute I go to sleep.
I did the 185, I did the absolute, and now I'm gonna do the 170. So it's new challenges, new people, different weight classes, and just new experiences.
I can go 20 minutes with a guy. I can go 30 minutes with a guy without, easing up, without getting tired.
This 170 and 170 is my world, and I feel that I'm gonna get that title no matter who's in my way.
I used to play before, but now I play for keeps because I'm too hungry to let it go.
10 minutes is a long time to be hitting somebody and scrapping with somebody, so it's gonna change a lot of things.
I think we call it what it is. I think it's combat jiu-jitsu. It's open palm strikes while grappling. That's about as pure as you can possibly get when trying to test your grappling.
It's not just one match. It's not just a tournament where you can run the clock and win on points. This is a style tournament where you're in danger of getting finished, or you can finish your opponent any time.
Whether I feel like I can submit the guy or I can beat him, by an inch or a mile, my goal is to win.
I always remember, I'm not competing against these guys. I'm competing against myself. That's it. I told myself during every match, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Our mind is limitless, right? And that's the only thing that's holding us back is our mind. So get out of your own way and succeed.